Yes, I can. Hi. Yeah, this is nerve-wracking. Andy, your speech, I'm sorry, where are you? Oh, sorry. That was excellent. All the typical behaviours and stuff, I just could, you know, that resonated with me a lot actually, so that was really helpful. I'm going to stand here and wiggle my toes. I haven't got a pedal. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I got my Bell's palsy through pregnancy with my twins, who are over there. This is actually a picture of me with my first daughter, my eldest, she's 7 now. So a very happy time in our lives, as you can see, lots of pictures and lots of smiles. I'm going to have to apologise, a lot of this is going to be just a collection of ramblings and thank yous, so I'm going to try and make that quick. So yeah, when I was first diagnosed with Bell's palsy, I'd never heard of it, I didn't know anything about the condition, I just assumed I'd had a stroke, as many people believe. In that initial diagnosis, there wasn't any kind of follow-up stuff given, no information or believed it or anything like that. It was all very kind of like, oh, you've got Bell's palsy, you can go home now, you're fine. In a couple of weeks you'll be back to normal. Now at 36 weeks pregnant with twins, that was quite a scary time. It was quite confusing, and I just assumed when they said that you've got this, temporary paralysis, it would be over in like 24 hours, a quick thing, and you'd be home and back to normal. So to hear 2 weeks was quite distressing for me. I didn't really know what was going on. I was supposed to give birth in a couple of weeks, not still be dealing with this condition. So yeah, I was given a course of steroids and off I went home, just waiting for the imminent birth. The palsy didn't go away, as we all know. There they are. That was one of the only pictures that were ever taken in that exciting time of one's life, which is quite sad really in hindsight. At the time you just sort of take each day as it comes and don't give it too much thought. But now looking back, now that they're 5 years old, you realise how few photos you've got as a family. It's quite, it is a little bit sad. But this one here is their first birthday party, and again, as you can see, I was trying to avoid it at all costs and not really engaging with a photo and all that sort of stuff. Well, anyway, in that year, I was given some mixed sort of information. I had to go back to my GP a few times and kind of persistently say, look, it's not getting better, 2 weeks has passed, 4 months has passed, can something be done about this? I was given a generic kind of physio program, which, as I later found out, wasn't correct for me, it wasn't the right thing to do. I was given acupuncture, which I found quite useful, and some people have that for various different things, which is quite good. I was actually given Botox without an assessment of my muscle activity as well, which is quite, I won't say worrying, but it just proves what state the NHS was in terms of what they knew about the condition and what advice to give to people. I've never been resentful towards the NHS for the wrong information that I was given. I think that this has just been a big learning curve for everybody over the years. But it just proves the work that the charity is doing is so helpful and so amazing, because already we've come so far in the last 4 years that the charity's been set up, and people like Charles are doing such amazing work. So that was kind of like the medical side of it, what was going on there. In terms of the emotional side of being a parent and dealing with facial palsy, such an unpredictable thing, it was a mix kind of up and down emotional roller coaster really. There were lots of meltdowns, as you can imagine. Lots of people that would be like, oh, have your picture taken, have this right away, you're all glammed up. And then you'd feel, alright, I'm feeling quite brave tonight, it's been 7 months, why not? And then the next thing you know, the picture's on Facebook and everyone can see it, and you haven't checked it first, and you have a kind of panic attack about it. So there were a few texts like, take that picture down, right now, down. So there was lots of that. There was also a lot of conflicting feelings. I'd go from being quite, I'd have the whole self-pity thing, life's over, it's never going to be the same again. And then there would be other times where I'd be like, do you know what, Sel, sort yourself out. There's so much going on in the world that is much more important and affects people in lots of different ways, and you need to stop being so self-indulgent. So those feelings, again, the back and forward, it was quite a confusing time really. There wasn't much support at this point. my GP referred me to forums, internet forums, which if any of you have gone on aren't always helpful. There's a lot of, I had facial palsy, I had Bell's palsy, it went after 2 weeks and now I'm back to normal, everything's fine, but there weren't any stories of people that had an ongoing issue. So I found that quite difficult to deal with. I didn't know what my place in the world was at that point. Was it just me? Am I on my own with this? Again, as a lot of mums out there will know, just having children generally is a very stressful thing. You go to bed every night guilty about something, wondering what you could do differently or you've done wrong that day. Obviously you change physically as well. We've all moaned about our jelly bellies and all that nonsense. So to have to cope with facial palsy as well when you don't know much about it is quite a stressful thing. But of course, as you all know, you have good and bad days. After 14 months of kind of going back and forth with these feelings, I had a referral to Queen Victoria. I had a very tearful first meeting with Charles, apologies. But he was really sweet and explained it all to me. I actually went to him looking for a quick fix, didn't I? A little bit of surgery, but no, that wasn't going to happen. Yeah, he explained that it was a temporary injury and the only way forward would be with physio and Botox, which was a lot to take at the time. I kind of went to that appointment expecting the nightmare to almost be over. But yeah, it was very educational and you learn to kind of deal with that. So yeah, Botox began. Synkinesis had taken hold at that point, so that was quite a relief to have that. I was referred to extra counselling. I had some CPT, which again, as someone said, it wasn't entirely helpful for me. I didn't find it great. But even in that short talk that you just gave, Andy, I took more from that in some of my sessions I had in 6 weeks. So that was, it's quite a good lesson really. If one therapist isn't doing it for you, then there's always another. Yeah, in the counselling, I learned a lot about grief and loss, and I didn't really associate just loss generally with those feelings of grief that you experience, and you just think, oh, someone dies, you grieve. But it isn't exclusive to that, and I've really learned that through the therapy that I've had, which has been really helpful. It was around that sort of time that I really wanted to start my own kind of personal campaign into highlighting the psychological effects of Bell's palsy, especially when you're a new mum. Yeah, it's a hard job as it is, so to be able to offer some extra support to people has meant a great deal to me. Around that sort of time as well, that I sort of started my treatment and all that went on for about 6 months or so. I then continued to see Vanessa throughout, who's been amazing. Vanessa was the one who told me that it would be really beneficial to start having treatment in the unaffected side of the face. Now, at that point, I assumed if I did that, I was dulling down what I had left, like clinging onto the right side of my face, the good part, the one that's still working, hasn't failed me. So when Vanessa proposed that to me, I was quite horrified really, because I just assumed that I'd be ruining what was left. But credit to her, she was persistent, and eventually I gave it a go. And as I said to a lady in the audience earlier, it turned out to be one of the best decisions I've ever made, because it really helped me to gain a little bit more symmetry and to gain a bit more confidence. And it was actually around that time that I started to experiment more with having my picture taken again, which, with so much going on in our lives, that's how I like to express myself. I like to take pictures of the family, and obviously got the Facebook account and all that sort of stuff. When I decided to take that plunge and have the Botox on the opposite side, there was a Halloween party shortly after that, which is quite ironic really, and I had this picture taken. I don't know if it's because I kind of learned at that point to kind of angle my face a bit better. I was getting a bit more practice with that. Obviously with the Botox combined, the 10 ton of makeup, which always helps. This was the first picture that I'd had taken, and thought to myself, do you know what? It might be okay. It might not be the end of the world. And again, similar here, I was really starting to learn how to angle the face properly, and that helped. Wow, I'm so nervous. over the years, so many people have contributed to my recovery. I do like to call it that. The team at Queen Victoria, as I've mentioned, and so many others that just are tireless. They do amazing work. From the charity, Karen, who's obviously a legend. Everyone works so hard and they really care so much about this cause, and it's just, you don't understand how much you help people, all of you. I've had access to the support group, which again has been lovely. I've met so many great people, places that I'm looking at now that have been so lovely and made some really amazing friends. Again, as part of my plight to kind of get involved and try and make some sort of contribution, I've tried to help out with the charity and taken part in like the Mums Network, we call it, where Karen or other people at the charity will give me the contact details of a new mum who's just, at the beginning of their journey, they've just had their onset, they've just had their baby and they've got all these fiddlings. And being able to speak to those mums and try to offer something that I didn't have when I'd begun my journey has been really rewarding for me. It's been such a great thing. There have been lots of new experiences. Meeting all these lovely new mums has been part of that. We kind of meet face to face. One's over there, Nicola. It's nice to kind of share your fears about the condition itself, but then to just bond over the fact that you've got these lovely babies and just motherhood generally. And we've made some great friends. Amongst those new experiences, I've also tried to do what I can for the charity as well. Karen and myself and Beth, and we went to the Houses of Parliament, which I never thought I would ever do, to raise awareness, which was a great day. That was quite interesting. There's been a couple of magazine articles. There's a BBC News documentary that I did with a very talented surgeon called Dominic Bray, who was lovely. These are all things that have helped me personally. I know it's not going to be for everyone, but getting yourself out there and trying to be brave when you feel like you can be. And also knowing that you're doing some good in the process. It's what's been quite instrumental to me moving forward. And it's quite empowering as well, actually. It's terrifying at the time, same as this, but maybe when this is over I'll feel good about it afterwards. Another thing that's been quite surreal, that's really changed quite a lot. A while back, Karen posted on social media that a Hollywood casting agent was looking for people with facial disfigurements to take part as extras in a film, a new project that was happening, and she'd asked if anyone was interested. And I was at that point where I was like, yeah, why not? I've done a couple of bits and pieces, sounds good, new experiences. And I put my details forward, which nothing came with that one actually. That was a little bit of a, oh well, that's that. But incidentally, that particular agent kept my details on their system and then just started offering me random extra work. Nothing to do with facial palsy, nothing to do with anything. And I've taken part in a couple of projects that are quite exciting. This is one that I've done a screen grab of. That's me! I'm there, thanks. That was during a Harvey's advert. Oh yeah, it says it on there. It's funny really, they call it background work, which it is, but at the time it's like a massive deal. All these cameras are in your face, you've got a director shouting at you, and runners, all over the place. And as I said, it's really actually quite empowering, and you get paid to do it. Sweet. So that's been really a very surreal turn in my life. Another one, which the very first job I did actually, this one was only a few months ago, the very first job I got called up to do for this agent was in a film that is currently in the cinemas. I'm not going to name drop Bridget Jones. I didn't quite make it. I made it in. You can see the back of my head, like really quickly, but I'm like Colin Firth. I didn't call him like that. He's really nice. And Renee, we're on first name terms. That was an amazing day. It was like 11 hours in the freezing cold. I was scantily clad, but it was the best experience of my life. It was hilarious. Okay, another thank you. I just want to take a moment to mention my husband Andrew, who's there in the salmon pink. Andrew's just one of the most amazing people I've ever met in my entire life. It's an absolute honour to be his wife. He's also the most infuriating person I've ever met. He's run 2 marathons for the charity over the last couple of years. He's raised £4,000 almost. Over £4,000. But my dear husband still isn't happy, because for the second marathon that he ran, the London Marathon, he walked for about 30 seconds and has punished himself every day since then. So if you want to find him later and give him a slap, you're welcome to. He did both of those marathons in a sub-4 time, which was amazing. So yeah, he isn't happy, but he should be. I think maybe he'll be happy knowing that he's made my life amazing and much more joyful than it would have been had he not been in it. And also, following on from that, our lovely 3 children who are running around as we speak. It has been an up and down journey. I've loved my kids with all my heart. I feel sadder now that there's no pictures of us as a family really in the beginning than I did at the time, because you just sort of get swept away with it all and just days turn into weeks, I suppose. I do feel sad about that, but also we're making up for it now, so it's not the end of the world. There are worse things. I think the good thing about the kids is they're just bigger than anything I can throw at you, so you just make your peace with it and you carry on. What makes me really happy, actually, one of the things that have really shown themselves in this journey for me, I just look around and I see so many lovely faces, so many people that have got facial palsy and are sitting amongst their loved ones, and people that are here supporting them. I really wanted to just take a moment to mention people's loved ones, because I think sometimes they do get overlooked. There's so much focus on people that are suffering from the condition themselves, and I think their recovery a lot of the time wouldn't be where it is without their loved ones near them. So it's important for them to know that it's not, you don't have to fix the problem, you don't have to come up with these like amazing great solutions. I think just sometimes a hug and an ear is all that's required, and it really does honestly make a difference. So I want to clap for the loved ones. Oh, and many of them fundraise as well, which is really important. There's another fundraiser over here, Richard. He's doing a Mahusive bike ride for the charity as well, so lots of luck to you for that. Wow, God, this is really long, I'm sorry. Throughout this time I've had the kids and all this stuff I've explained already, I've continued work as a beautician, despite a lot of concerns in the beginning when it was time to sort of go back to work. Obviously it's very image based, you know, there's a certain perception of how you need to be and look and full of confidence and all this. I did battle with that kind of decision. Do I continue? Do I go to a salon? Do I carry on doing private work? What do I do? I think what I've learned is there really just is a positive to everything. I've tried to take the best out of everything that I can. I've continued work and kept my face out there, and I've also learned a lot more about makeup and how it can help. As all the ladies know, and some gents, makeup can be a really powerful tool in just getting yourself out there and just making you feel better about yourself. It is an important thing to have sometimes. And I've really used this opportunity to experiment more with makeup and just see what can be done to help gain a bit of symmetry. Obviously you're not going to completely change your muscle function or how you appear, but there are certain very discreet tips that can help, I've found. So Karen and I were talking about maybe doing a video for the website, possibly. I have enjoyed talking to people about that, actually, all these little tips that I've gained along the way. I just feel like if it can help one person's confidence just one time, like it's been a successful day. Again, another thing I'd like to mention is all the inspiring people that I've met along the way as well. So many lovely new people I've met through the support group and such. They've had to endure chemotherapy, multiple operations, a real kind of challenge with this condition. There's lots of people that are born with facial palsy, some beautiful children that I can see as well today. They've really had to, you know, endure some life-changing challenges. In my opinion, they're the courageous ones, so I think they're amazing. They've inspired me a lot. Okay, I'm not so nervous now, it's nearly over. There have been dark moments, as I mentioned, and others where I just can't believe my luck. There have been some great experiences. I do feel like time has healed. There was a time a couple of years ago where I just never imagined I would want to go out to eat, maybe, as much, which is my favourite thing in the whole world. Again, as Andy said, there was a big thing I had to overcome about meeting people from the past, like I haven't seen for a couple of years. If I'd like bump into them in blue water, I'd really kind of freeze, and just that was my absolute bona fide nightmare. And obviously that's happened a few times over the years, and I've learned to kind of control those feelings and you know, understand that it's normal and you're going to feel like that. But I have learned to accept the condition. It's not as awful as it seemed in the beginning. Time's healed a lot of the anxiety that I felt over the years. I look back over the last 5 years, and in the last couple in particular, since I've had those turning points that I mentioned to you all, I've looked back and I've seen a lot of changes in myself. I've seen a lot of growth, a lot of strength, a lot of kindness from others, which has stayed with me very much. I wouldn't choose to have facial palsy, I don't think any of us would, but it's part of our journeys, I expect, our life, our adventures. And if you can find a way to help the situation with various tools that we've explained, then it's quite exciting to see what happens next. I'm done.